welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danika Foley-Long, and I'm here with Jimmy Broussard, who's the OEP coordinator with St. Mary Parish. And it is about that time. We are in hurricane season. I was just getting over the fact that we had spring, we had all this rain, and now we're dealing with what's to come, or likely to come, the prediction for our hurricane season. Let's kind of go back last year, 2020. Let's kind of do kind of a little recap of what we experienced last year.
Okay, like last year, the forecast that they put out is here. We had 16, 9, and 4.
And that was the named storms. That was just the
named
forecast,
storms,
right?
Hurricanes and the other ones.
Major hurricanes.
Major.
Okay.
Then mid-July, they changed the forecast and increased the numbers because of the number of activity that we had before.
Right.
So they increased that to 22,
11 and 5.
11 and 5.
Right.
And then we actually had 30, 24, and 7.
11 that were
14.
major named storms, 14 that were hurricanes, and 7 actual major storms.
Right.
And what we remember from that is definitely Laura and Lake Charles.
Yes.
That's a very high, those are very high numbers.
It is.
We typically don't experience that, but unfortunately we did this past
the record
year.
set was exceeded on this with 30 named storms happening this season.
So we were like not even in the alphabet, we had surpassed the alphabet, right?
Yeah, sure did.
That's amazing. So if we were looking at that in 2020, what's 2021 have in store for us?
Well, what we have come out in 2021, I'm going to just say it because named storms will be 17, hurricanes will be 8, and major hurricanes 4. So that's a big decrease than what we had last year, but the actual beginning of the forecast is almost the same, similar.
So that would be called what they say, I guess, an El Nino season, where it's a little higher than normal, but they're saying we're likely to have a similar season?
Yes, similar.
Oh, goodness.
That's what they're coming out with at first.
Yes. And just so we're clear, this is the Atlantic hurricane season schedule. Right. This just means not all those storms are projected to come to Louisiana. That's,
correct.
You know, for the Atlantic, I mean, up into like the Gulf Coast. So just want to make that clear. Like, we can't handle all that.
But we did have to handle a lot, though, this past season. A little spaghetti model. These are all the hurricanes that we had to prepare for the Gulf Coast, Louisiana, because once they get in the Gulf, we got to start thinking about preparing and all that. And we kind of, if you can see right here, right in the middle of the yellow spot, they kind of dodged a bullet all the way around.
Oh, I remember that. I remember we were going for the 10 o'clock, the 12 o'clock, the 1. I mean, it was just so many updates throughout the day that we stayed pretty busy as far as media is concerned. You guys stayed busy. A lot of our local officials, our mayors, everyone was just on high alert because it kept moving and we didn't know where it was going to land. But I will say, just for our sake, we were blessed to not experience the bulk of last year's hurricane season.
Now, we had some frights come our way. We really had to think about planning what we were going to do, but at the right time, I guess, the storm prediction veered off away from us. So
right. And in addition to just hurricanes, we got to worry about ice storms. We had an ice storm.
Yes, big ice storms all over the state. Shreveport and all those cities had blocks of ice on the roadways, and they couldn't. All the water mains were frozen and everything else.
Loss of power for days.
Loss of power for a long time. The trees breaking and everything like that. And this Lake Charles is still trying to get power and all that. And then this ice storm comes, and they're all frozen now.
Yes.
People with no power, no heat, everything.
Yes.
So they had to worry about that, and it was really critical in those areas.
And that actually became more of an issue because now the death toll was rising because of the use of generators.
Yes.
We often see these PSAs that come out, please do not use a generator in a home. And that's pretty much where the death toll started to rise, particularly in that area. Like
Lake Charles, they had multiple deaths from people just putting the generators on in their garage, enclosed garage, and leaving the kitchen door open or something like that. and the fumes go in the house while you're sleeping, you know, you don't think anything of it because it's not affecting you, but you don't wake up from it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that happens more often than you know.
Right, and we try to preach and everything else, but it's having to put the word out to everybody, because not everybody has radio and TV and all that.
Yeah.
But your neighbor can let other people know, hey, you shouldn't be doing this and all that, you know.
Well, with that said, I hope the information that you learned here, whether it's on our Facebook page, knowing that this is coming up on TV, but also it's going to be available on YouTube. Tell a neighbor. I think that's great. It's going to possibly be in your newspapers, all media, pretty much, you know, get the word out. Please do not put a generator inside your home. We'll take a short break, but come on back right here on The Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Again, I am your host, Danika Foley. With me, we have Mr. Jimmy Broussard, who is the OEP coordinator with St. Mary Parish, kind of doing a recap of our hurricane season and pretty much just the different catastrophes that kind of happened last year. We experienced ice storms all across the United States, because it just wasn't us. There was actually a map of all the power outages that were just going up, I mean, in the thousands all across, especially the southeastern part of the United States. We were heavily affected. Texas was heavily affected. I mean, Arkansas, all over. I mean, obviously even into the east definitely were affected. And you also had downed trees. So, I mean, you had ice. Ice was very heavy on the limbs. Limbs were falling off. Trees were falling down. It just was all across. I mean, we just, thankfully, like I said, I think we were pretty blessed here in St. Mary Parish.
Well, even around here, we did have some trees breaking. The ice accumulation on the trees would just, in the middle of the night, that tree would just go boom.
Right.
And it's massive tree damage, power lines falling, the poles breaking and everything else.
Also, roads were closed.
And roads were closed due to that. And it's a good thing. We kept a lot of people off the roads because of that reason. Even the sheriff's office and the local police departments helped block roads and overpasses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you tried to put salt, but it just wasn't working fast enough. And I want to say kudos to Morgan City PD, now retired. Teddy Liner actually allowed us to do a ride along, and as we're going over the US 90 bridge, you could hear the ice underneath the tires. I mean, we were going really, really slow, and on a bridge like that, people don't even slow down for the for the construction zone. But he was going at least about 10 miles an hour, maybe even less than that, just going across that, and it's having those grates there. I mean, that could easily have caused a fatality. So with the downed trees, we also noticed, like, you know, homes were being destroyed. So a little off the beaten path here, a lot of our workers were going to Lake Charles. Then you see the rise of lumber. I mean, it was just like almost like a snowball effect of all the things that were happening because of this hurricane season.
Well, Hurricane Laura came through. The number of trees that is unbelievable. How many fell and broke lines, closed the roads. Because the Natchez, I mean, the Castache Forest up there in western Louisiana had tons of trees knocked down. And the roads blocked, power lines down. And it's a big restoration time frame to go through with that. The cost of lumber skyrocketed, and it's still way up there. And it's going to be hard for these people to recover with the amount it's costing now.
And we're back in another hurricane season. What can we do? I mean, we were spared. What can we do to make sure that we don't have to, you know, we can recover quickly?
Well, we can try and recover quickly. It depends on how strong the storm.
That's true.
As soon as the power comes back on, that's when a lot of people feel comfortable, you know, and everything else, like things are coming back to normal. But like in Lake Charles, there's no power for weeks and months now, and everything else. We have these little brochures now at our office and in certain places throughout the parish. It's Louisiana Emergency Preparedness Guide, and in there they have a project called Get a Game Plan. And Get the Game Plan means make your plan for your family, your home, your business, and everything like that. take care of your people, your pets, have a plan where you got to go, have a box of emergency preparedness materials, food, water, clothing, and all of that that's necessary, medications and everything. Have that ready. Mitigate your property outside and inside. Like you got expensive items on a shelf or whatever. We'll put that in a safe place where the wind, if it breaks a window, it won't knock everything down. Trees around your house and everything else. Trim your trees and all that. Get a game plan. Generators, if you got them, use them correctly. Have fuel on hand. Have cash on hand. Yeah. And then have a place to go already set in motion that if you need to evacuate, you know where to go.
Yeah, now usually hurricane season is from June 1st to November 30th, but we have seen it go on until like December and even further. So
yes,
definitely get a game plan. We'll go to break, but come on back right here on The Voice of the Coast with yours truly. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast with yours truly. I'm here with Jimmy Broussard, who's the OEP coordinator with St. Mary Parish. Now, we are talking about, hopefully, we don't have to do this now, but we still need to be prepared. We still need to have all these things in place. Like, don't wait until the last minute. And I was just telling you that I used to have a box where I would keep a lot of my important papers and kind of keep it, but really, just having them in a box, you really have to have them stored in a freezer bag,
yeah,
or some type of Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
So these are some of the things that you will find in that emergency preparedness guidebook that you can pick up. Actually, you can pick it up here at KWBJ. We don't mind. Just come on by, knock on the door. We actually have a few that we can spare and give away to the public. But for those folks who are saying, I don't have a reliable vehicle, I don't even know where to go. Where could I go? Yeah. This is where St. Mary Parish steps in.
Yeah, if we implement our evacuation plan, we will have evacuation locations at two places, Morgan City Junior High and Franklin Senior High. From there, you'll be registered, and you'll get on a school bus, and we'll bring you to our evacuation point, which is right now scheduled for Rapides Coliseum in Alexandria.
Yeah. And what can you bring?
You should bring a light bag, not a big bulky items, not 20 suitcases or nothing like that, you know. A small bag with some clothing, your medical supplies, some snacks, change of clothes and all that.
Yeah. And you guys will provide, like you said, food and water, and also a place for them to lay their head.
Yes, that'll be at the Coliseum. They'll have the cots set up, because they could be close together for each person.
And is this a school bus or charter bus?
School buses.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to be prepared for that. Do I really need to ride on a school bus, or call Uncle Joe and catch a ride with him? That'd be the best thing to do. But we'll give you water and MREs to start with. When the Red Cross gets in and starts running an operation, they'll cook meals and prepare that.
Okay. And typically, how long is that stay?
That could be anywhere from 2 to 5, 6 days, staying over there. And that'll depend on how much of recovery we have made within the cities where you live from. Because you don't want to come back to a house that has no electricity, no running water, no sewage. So let us do our work over here, get everything fixed up and all that. Then we'll let you know when it's safe to come home.
Okay. I mean, it's one of those things, you don't like having that conversation, but you have to have those conversations. And I would suggest having those conversations with your loved ones. Those who are elderly definitely don't have anyone to look after them. So if you know they live alone, please look out for your neighbors, your relatives who are elderly and are disabled. So definitely will suggest that. I want to kind of shift our conversation now to COVID. We are now still in a pandemic, but we've lessened a lot of the mask mandates, and people are starting to kind of get back out and do normal things.
Right.
Is that healthy to just start kind of just getting back out there?
Well, you still have to be, careful or whatever when you go to some places like that. Like certain parties or whatever, and you see people sniffling and coughing a lot, you know, it might be a good idea to stay away from them. Yeah. But still wash your hands, come into contact with people, you know, hugging and shaking hands and whatever. Be careful doing all that, especially if you don't know the people. But a lot of people are going out to restaurants, they're shopping and everything else. School kids is back in school. Well, they're out now, but they were allowed back with no mask and everything. So it's lessening up. But you still have to, if you have people in your household that haven't taken their shot, vaccines, you can still take those because they do help. And we still have mask mandates at a couple of locations.
Right, right. All right. Well, we're going to take a break, but come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast for our last segment. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Again, I am your host, Danika Foley. With me, we have Jimmy Broussard, who is the OEP coordinator with St. Mary Parish. Now, we started talking about COVID and where we are and where we stand. Let's talk about vaccines. I understand Louisiana is pretty much on the low end as far as, you know, rolling out vaccines, but how are we in St. Mary Parish?
Well, there's a percentage chart that's made on census tract in the computer for LDH, and I looked it up before I came here, and our vaccine rate in the percentage for St. Mary Parish is 25.4%, and the highest percentage area based on the census tract is 27%, and that's in the Morgan City area where Ochsner Hospital and that location is.
Do you think that's because of the proximity to the hospital?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we ain't got to go too far, just go right here and get our vaccines. But I understand there are several movements to get people to partake in the vaccinations, and you have Ochsner itself actually had to postpone their kind of a grand event that they had planned because of, but due to the rain, they had to postpone it. But that's coming up. I think they're going to have crawfish for you. So yeah, get your vaccines, but watch your blood pressure. Yeah. And then we have Amelia Bell is actually doing something.
Casino is going to do theirs coming up. We recently had Cypress Bayou Casino do theirs.
Okay.
And there were several other little churches or whatever that had theirs. And it helps to do that, but we need to still get it in people's head, go take your vaccines. Like right now during the summer, it's a good time for 12 years old and up. They can get their vaccines. Right. But the parent has to be there with them, you know. Right.
And for traveling, you know, to travel, I think now they are requiring.
There will be some requirements coming up later on. So if you have it, you can, LA Wallet, that's an app that you can get on your cell phone. It'll show you your vaccine, that you were vaccinated if you took your shots.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. And also just the health units, they do it pretty much often. So
the health units, the urgent care centers, Ochsner Hospital, some certain doctor's offices.
Yeah. Yes. All right. So it's pretty much, it's more readily available than it was, especially when it first came out. They were trying to get a lot of our aging population to get it first, and now it's pretty much open to anybody and everybody. You just, in some places you do have to make an appointment. Others, I think you're able to just to kind of walk in.
Almost walk in right now.
All right, right before our, you know, summertime. So one other thing we have not talked about, and that's high water.
Oh, yes.
We usually the high water season is spring, around March time, and also October. We just got out of May, and that water was, I mean, just really, really high for our neighbors to the, well, in Stevensville. They were they just about see it every year, but this was not from the Atchafalaya. This was rainfall.
Raw rainwater. Yep. Yeah. The spring flood that we usually get was real low this year. The rivers were okay. But it's the rainwater that really built everything up, and the tidal situation along the coastline was high tides a lot that held the water from draining. So it's just the amount of rain that we had this year was bad.
So early June, we're June 7th. I mean, is that water going down?
Yes, it's going down gradually though. and this recent bout of rain we had on the west end of the parish, it made it come up again. So.
Yeah. So we don't know. They say April showers. They never said May showers.
Yeah.
We've gotten quite a lot of showers come through, and then of course we are still bracing for hurricane season. Just one last, push for you guys to make sure that you have a game plan. Get a game plan.org, is it, or which one is it?
Well, this is the Louisiana plan. Get a game plan.org.
.org. Okay, and also pick up one of those books over here or at any of the, you can go to the parish courthouse, any of our municipalities, they typically have one at the city halls, so make sure that your family is prepared. As always, make sure to subscribe to us on Facebook. We are KWBJ TV 22, and also on YouTube, we are KWBJ Live. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.